What do you make of speculations in some quarters that the suspension of the SGF and the NIA is a diversionary tactic by the presidency to deflect attention from certain monies that have been discovered lately? For instance, the money discovered in the Osborne residence, which was linked to the NIA. Is this an actual anti-corruption war we have on our hands, or is this another attempt at diversion?
Well, I think it's too early to say it's diversionary. For me, I would rather give the presidency a benefit of doubt, that they just wanted to be thorough. They wanted to be sure to give all of the suspected people the opportunity to clear themselves or to explain themselves. 14 days. 2 weeks is the mandate the president gave to this fact-finding committee. And 14 days is going to end. We should get a report out by May 3rd, which is just next week. So for me, it's in order. Let's give the presidency the benefit of that. I don't want to join those who think it's diversionary. As a layman, one can say things just didn't add up. As a public affairs commentator, I can say, oh, why do you have to stash so much funds in a private apartment when all monies are supposed to be in the banks, particularly under the Treasury single accounts? You are not supposed to have those kind of money. But that's my own personal thought about the Osborne money. It's part of whistleblowing coming to play, and I think it's quite in order that we are having all of this in public domain. We are having discussions around these issues up to the period when the whistleblowing policy came into being. Possibly without that, we wouldn't have even been talking about the Osborne cash all today. But for the whistleblowing policy of this, I think at the last count, about 17 billion altogether have been discovered through different whistleblowing policy. And one just would like to give benefit of that to the president and the presidency, for that matter, to see how much of this whistleblowing policy, whether these discoveries eventually will lead to permanent forfeiture of these huge sums of money, which can eventually be used to develop, rather than going borrowing. You've heard of $1 billion Eurobond, 500 million Eurobond, but taking loans all over the place. When you have that kind of huge sums of money in circulation in private hands. But it's too early in the day to jump to conclusions to say, oh, these are stolen wealth, or this is money laundering. The NIA boss that came out and said, this is our money. According to your report, he was grilled yesterday for 10 hours. Possibly he's been able to explain himself, but I do hope that when eventually the report of this fact-finding committee headed by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is out, that justice will not only will be said to have been done, but will be seen to have actually been done.
Okay, just a moment, Mr. Joe. Peradventure, the SGF's name is cleared at the end of these investigations. Should he be reinstated, or should he step aside for someone fresh and someone totally new altogether to step into that position?
If he's cleared, then he should retain his position. If he's indicted, he needs to step aside and face prosecution. That is my own. Because if you say if he's cleared, then he should be relieved of his position. Then that means you are punishing him for being forthright, for having cleared himself. I don't think he should be relieved of his position. If this fact-finding commission is able to do sufficient justice as to make everybody see that, look, this man has been able to explain himself, the Rolavision scandal or whatever, whether he resigned as director of Rolavision ahead of the procurement and all of that, whether he has any hand in it. he's been able to explain, and we are satisfied with it.
But is it proper? Is it just, Mr. Joe, is it proper for the executive arm of government to be investigating itself, as the case is? Shouldn't a neutral body have been set up for this investigation?
I quite agree. I quite agree that, peradventure, a neutral body ought to have been set up. First and foremost, we have the Senate committee, which actually blew the whistle and said, look, SGF, you have breached your public trust, you have compromised your position as SGF, you have breached Procurement Act, and you should be relieved of your position. Now having the presidency setting up another fact-finding committee is actually out of order, in my own personal opinion. But why I cannot say it should be dismantled is that already the president did not seek our opinion before he set it up. And you could see the jubilation, you could see the commendation that came the way of the presidency last week when it actually announced the suspension of Babacha Lawa as well as the NIA DG. So the only thing is that let's give them benefit of doubt, let them come up with their report. I hope the report will be made public in good time for us to really be able to digest whether sufficient justice was done.
Okay,
by this 3-man
but let me take you up on something you just said. You said the presidency did not seek our opinion. Yeah, of course. What should have been the proper process for setting up a committee to investigate a matter such as this?
For me, with the report of the Senate committee, headed by Senator Shehu Sani, if, as it has come up, they should have ordinarily allowed the work of the committee to be concluded, the final report submitted, because, like I said earlier on, Babacha Lawa has been given another opportunity to come and defend himself. And I'm not sure he has been able to go to Senate to defend himself. I think he asked for he asked for a new date, aside from the one that the Senate committee gave him. And what I thought the presidency, having said, look, this man was not giving fair hearing, should have done is to allow the Senate committee to run out his course, come up with his final report. If the final report still indicts Babacha Lawa, then he should have been suspended and asked to face prosecution by EFCC. That is the time that EFCC should have been allowed to now take on the take on the investigation, since it's an issue that this borders on possibly money laundering, or if it's ICPC, any of the anti-corruption agency would now have been invited, and then from there on, the prosecution could have taken place.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Jide Ojo. We have to leave it right there at this time. Thank you for joining us, Jide Ojo, a policy analyst. Well, news just in has it that a high court sitting in Minna, the Niger State capital, has reserved ruling till May the 3rd, 2017 on the bail application by a former governor of Niger State, Babangida Aliyu, and his former chief of staff, Omar Nasco. Both men are standing trial on breach of trust for allegedly diverting to personal accounts funds belonging to the state government to the tune of over 5 billion naira. They were ushered into the courtroom at about 8:40 a.m. by officials of the EFCC. The accused persons pleaded not guilty when the charges were read to them by the presiding judge, Justice Aliyu Mayaki, who also slated June the 16th to commence hearing of the case. The judge ordered that the accused be remanded in Minna Medium Prison after the EFCC complained of lack of facilities to accommodate them in the Niger State capital. Well, that's it on the program tonight. Thank you for being great company. On behalf of the production team, bye-bye.